Hi everyone, I'm Danielle with Trinity Readings, and I would just like to share with you today what I believe and hope is some valuable information um, that could help, hopefully. Anyway, so what I do in my work is I'm a psychic, I'm an intuitive, so in essence, I can predict the future, right? But what I've also learned in my own growth, in my own spiritual path, um, is that we're not meant to live life that way. We're not meant to live life just by preparing for what future events may come. We're supposed to, we're meant to recognize our own potential and recognize the understanding that we have free will and we have the ability to create our life. And so, in essence, we're not meant to be going, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? We're meant to be in the space of saying, this has value, this has meaning, this is my intention, this is what I want. And we're meant to see that we are supported by the divine and by the energy in that pursuit. And so it's always been a little bit conflicting for me um, in doing my work as a reader, because part of me isn't, you can get the answers to what's coming in your future, but then you'll get stuck in that loop of continuing to seek answers for what's next and what's next and what's next, right? Which is in essence living in survival mode. You're asking your intuition, you're asking your guides, getting a reading on what am I supposed to prepare for, which basically means what should I be reacting to next, which is living in survival mode. And when you're living in survival mode, you're living under the understanding that you do not have free will, that you're not meant to have the life that you want to have. And so you will always, that's what you will always experience. And you'll be waiting for that moment that something finally shows up to bless you or save you or rescue you, but your own movement in survival mode is energetically going to keep you there, right? So what the essence of awakening really is waking up to the understanding that you have the potential for more, right? And what like people experience what they label an awakening in different ways, but a lot of times it's something that shows up that you have a very, very strong desire for, and it triggers, all of this kind of like an identity kind of crisis, right? And ideally, what you're meant to kind of see in that is, I feel like kind of what an awakening really does is when you sit in survival mode for such a long period of time, you're just kind of moving through the routines, right? You're just moving through the routine. You're just kind of reacting to everything that's in front of you. And then when you have this awakening, it's like, oh, wait a minute, there might be something more. I might not have to, just keep doing this my whole life, right? And so it kind of, again, gives you like an identity kind of crisis, right? Where everything you've been doing it is no longer suitable, and you want something more, but then you also have to kind of get rid of the stuff that's not working. And so it's a crazy kind of experience, right? But it's meaningful. What I've noticed is a lot of people awaken because of the idea or the spark of a twin flame. But the way that they go about moving everything forward, they end up staying in survival mode, which keeps the whole twin flame thing like an enigma, right? And it never comes to being, right? So, so this is kind of, again, what it boils down to is the devil is survival mode, right? The devil is a negative attachment. The devil is the understanding that I don't have free will. It's believing that you don't have free will. It's being too attached to your physical surroundings, your physical environment, to the point that you're in survival mode, that you are only reacting to circumstances as they come instead of feeling like you are in control of your life, right? The devil card is being in a space of fear. It's being attached to fear. It's moving through life like going through the motions, right? You're doing things that you don't even understand really the rhyme or reason for it. You're just doing things in the way that you've already, like, this is how I've always done it, right? The devil card is kind of like your life is controlled by your shadows, right? Your shadows being fear, being insecurities, being beliefs that you have that are restricting you, but you don't realize they're restricting you because you have blinders onto them, right? So the devil card is being in survival mode. It's feeling as if you have no control over your life, and it's believing that that's just the way it is, right? So then you come to the Lover's card, and the Lover's card is kind of that aha moment. It's that spark that comes in. It's something that comes into that you feel aligned to, that shows you have a choice. And that's what free will is. That's exactly what free will is, recognizing that we have a choice. And so your choice in this, right, is to step out of survival mode and step into thriving mode, step into aligning with what holds value and what holds meaning for you, and trusting that the divine, God, whatever you choose to believe in, higher energies are going to support that path. But the divine can only support that if you have freed yourself from fear. And that's where all the difficulties in awakening come from. That's why people talk about, going through the dark night of the soul. The dark night of the soul is having to face your shadows. It's basically having to recognize that, unfortunately, your own fears and your own beliefs and all of these things that you do without realizing that you're doing it are the very thing that are keeping you stuck, and you're the one that has to kind of look at that and work through that. And it's kind of like going from survival mode to thriving is like a nervous system reset. It's having to reset your nervous system. It's getting your nervous system out of survival mode and into a more coherent type of space, right? But once you do that, and the Judgment card is by bringing everything out of the shadow to light, all of your fears, all of your insecurities, everything in your physical reality that you are attaching yourself to, right? It's bringing all of that to light so you can get rid of what's not working and move towards creating, right? And creating with the divine. And that's what temperance is. It's co-creating with the divine. It's also understanding that your emotional world, your subconscious world, that hidden aspect of you is playing just as much of a role in what you're creating as what you're actively doing and what you're actively connecting yourself to. And here's something to kind of take it a little step further. If you're trying to connect to somebody in survival mode, you're not going to be able to get yourself out of survival mode, because somebody in survival mode is just seeking to survive and not seeking to growth. So that works against you, right? For reference, I do teach energy alignment coaching. I do energetic alignment coaching, and I also do energetic alignment readings, so you can see where you are on the scope of your own energy, and you can get all that information on my website, and it's trinityreadings3.com. Thank you.